So let's start there. So if there was like with the visitation and stuff and not having those for 4 years and talking about the dances, what would you like to make sure that we do correctly whenever we're dancing? And sometimes people don't always do the same thing, or they watch somebody and they're not doing it right. So what would that be?
Well, I would have the, um, especially those young girls and in their group. I have showed them. I don't know how many times, probably at least six, seven, but they all dance the same thing. They want to line up like they're marching, and they go forward and they'll turn around and they're still in one straight line and going back. I said, they never danced like that. I said, and the young dog dance, that was, you're supposed to be imitating dogs, meander around. You got to double step, and most of them don't know what I mean with a double step, but they go like a dog's running, or one foot in front, one behind, and they just can do that and just meander all around. Maybe they don't know what meander means.
So they're able to move around the arena, like
Yeah, they dance in any direction. They can go this way and that way. Hell, yeah, I see dogs outside in the yard, and they don't go in a straight line unless there's someone calls them or something. But I have a hard time uh, trying to see about it. And what's going to happen is we're going to lose that dance and those songs because if they're not going to if they're not going to dance them correctly, why sing?
why do you think they started doing that? Because I know the men dance around in on the inside and the women have been on the outside, but I also remember you telling us that like that's how you're supposed to do it. But why do you think they
Well, the men's not on the outside. The men could be doing the same thing. That's what. That's why they called it dog dance. It's just like the uh, Pawnees with their uh, wolf dance. They're basically the same songs, the same tunes, the same everything. But they don't. They go in circles. But that's the way. But the men go in the center. The women go around in the circles. But with ours, they're supposed to all be out there just going around, bumping into each other and laughing and having a good time and whatever. Could even kiss somebody, I guess, like those dogs do. But
noses?
not to get them to moving around, I don't know. But I've showed them and I've told them I'm getting too old to show them anymore. I could still tell them, but they just I'll tell them in a group that don't be lining up and don't. Okay, the first thing they do, they go out there and line up.
And I think that's the thing. People don't remember, so they start watching someone, and then they just imitate that person as opposed to remembering
Hmm.
how it's supposed to be.
Uh, I, I think that they're not watching anybody but just that group that's out there, and they're already lined up before they ever hit the drum.
So that's something that we need to remember. Is there other things? What about our songs? Like, um, I know you try to teach some people about our songs and stuff. How
Yeah.
do you think those are going to carry on?
I I think they're eventually going to go down to maybe like the Delawares over here, just have one or two songs in each group and try to have a dance with those. So they got to get songs from other places. I think we're gonna almost be in that. We're almost in that place right now. Jimmy and I probably the only ones, but he kind of changes them a little bit. I guess that's all right. But I remember my grandpa and them used to say, and different ones had asked some elders why they didn't teach them the songs to the other dances that we had before. And they said, because you're not going to treat them right, and you're not going to treat those songs right, the dance will eventually go away. So I'm not going to teach any. They just said, I'm taking them with me when I go. And so that's part of what got us down. You know, for about 10 years, I was the only one that sang Wichita songs. And finally got Jimmy to, I had been trying for 10 years before to get him to sing it, but he wouldn't. And I think that's going to be sad. It's going to be a sad thing. It's going to be a sad thing, and it's coming. I just have a feeling that.
How do you think we can carry on that song? I mean, if you were gonna, if there was a way for us to carry them on, because kind of like what you said a while ago, if people won't treat them right, and it brought tears to my eyes, because a lot of times, if you're not there and somebody's not teaching you directly, you're just picking it up, and so it doesn't have as much meaning to you as remembering that person that taught you about them and why they were important or why it's important to do those dances correctly. So on the song part, how would we carry those things on to make sure they're done correctly?
I think it'd be like this. You need to get it on good tape and have everything right. Have them do the dances that they're supposed to be doing the way they're supposed to be danced, and then go ahead and it's like the other night they sang some welcome songs, and everybody left the drum. All the females, they all went out this way, but they're supposed to stay around that drum, around the singers, and sing from there, because when they stop the song for the women to sing, it sounds better if they're all together in one place and not one here and one here and one over there. And if they're just, well, there was more than that the other night, singing those songs, but there's four songs that they're going to be singing, and they can stop, and then that's when the women sing. But they need to be up there at the drum. They need to be where they can be heard and not scattered out.
When you say four songs, what are the four songs?
What?
You said there's four songs they're going to be singing. What songs are those?
They're welcome songs. You don't know the welcome songs?
I don't know all of them, but I didn't know if they like had names to them or not. Just the four.
Oh, they ain't no names. 1, 2, 3, 4. I guess I just sing them the way I learned them. But with those, if I didn't have no, don't have no tape of it, like my mother would sing them when we would, but she'd always be buffing here from you to you from the drum. That would be the furthest the way she'd be, but she'd try to get up closer. But they could make 2 or 3 circles around it, and they'd still be loud enough for people to hear. But and then they said, "Well, you said I told them to scatter." No, I didn't. I told y'all to scatter during the dog songs, and meander around. I didn't say anything about the welcome songs. The welcome songs, you're supposed to be right there with the drum. And they all turned and flew away. I even saw you leaving.
Those, see, that's what I mean. That's what I mean. It's different. Like if somebody's taught me, like if we were sitting here and you taught me, and when you were talking about that a while ago about how they, I remember that. But like I said, you get out there in the arena and you think, and you start watching other people that probably know more, and
you're not supposed to do that.
Yeah.
You're supposed to get out there and dance from your heart. What's in your heart? And God given you this ability to dance, and He gave you the right to dance, and He gave you the right to sing, and He gave us the right to sing. And that's why, I always tell them that when they ask me, they say, well, different ones come to me, they say, now we're going to have somebody coming into the arena. How am I supposed to do it? Who do I invite? Who do I said, it's up to you. I said, no, I said, we want to do it the right way. I said, well, the right way is for you to give to who you want to. Don't let me tell you who to give it to. I'll be naming myself first. Be getting the first blanket. Oh, but I've told different ones. Wichita's come to me and asked me how to do entering their kids or whatever. I said, you don't have no big dent. You don't. It's not. That's not what it's for. I said, if you put that in those kids' hearts and they want to dance, just let them dance. You don't have to have no giveaway for them. They don't do anything that contributed to your kids' dances. I said, you don't have to have a giveaway and do that. God was the one that gave you that feeling, gave you the sound of the drum and the singers and stuff. But I said, all the thing you do is get them dressed and go out there and let them dance. It doesn't matter if they're dancing correctly the first time, but they earn their dance steps and everything when they're out there, like you say, when they watch somebody that they enjoy seeing dance, and then and follow them, and then eventually get their steps down. It may take them a year or two, or several dances a year or whatever to do that, and don't let them change it each time. They stay the same thing. And when they get that rhythm and the sound of the songs and everything, they'll eventually get their steps correctly. But not to change it and not to be looking at everybody dancing. If they can watch somebody watch one person that they like and look at his steps, and then you try to copy his steps, you can then a little bit later you can change them a little bit. But you might get halfway through them and decide, I don't like it this way. I want to see somebody else, so they can, that's all right. But just getting out there and know that they're not doing it right and laughing about it, I don't get the meaning from that. But I've told them and told them, and they'll even come to me. They came to me down there last time. I told them this is the last time I'm going to tell you all. I told Cassie and couple of those other girls, they came over there and said, "Do not get in the line." Okay. You go out there and it's a double step. It's just like how a dog runs. You know how a dog runs or walks. They got one. And then every once in a while, you'll see some dogs that are left-handed that go this way. Right-handed, they go this way. But the first hit and then the second one is behind it. You don't have to do it that fast, but if you say the song's too fast, all we have to do is slow it down. But I know that would be uh, one thing, and one thing that keeps us from doing like they used to is visiting. No one visits anybody anymore.
You mean like go to their homes and stuff?
Yeah, you get little kids and go to your grandma's house or go to your aunt's house or your uncle's house and whatever, and let them tell stories or whatever. Then you've got something to add to the library or whatever. If you take a tape and say, I want you to uh, tell me something about when you was in the service, or something about when you was out working in the fields and you was beating that cow to death, and or whatever about what made her so mad or what made you so mad. But any kind of stories that they want to tell is all right. They don't have to be about dancing or songs or anything with that, or how correctly how they would do things. Because we've got more Wichitas, I think, that are I guess you might say church people than the traditional. They don't show up, and then all of a sudden they want to show up and have their kids run for princess. It's kind of too much. I mean, it's all right as long as they're trying, but they need to think ahead and then teach them how to dance. Or if they don't know how, they need to take them to someone that does.
I think a lot of times that holds people back is not having regalia or thinking that there's a big cost to
Yeah.
having them dance. Do you think that's true? Well, like, do they have to be all dressed out? And I mean, our people didn't have all the flashy stuff or anything. No, they had the wraps and just. Mhm.
They're trying to do like the Kiowas do. And most of them's Kiowas. I mean, part Kiowa, part Wichita. But they try to go, well, uh, Ira, for once, that I remember, he came and wanted me to tell him he was going to dance and all. He wanted what he's supposed to do to go in, and I told him, I said, just start dancing. He said, no. I said, my grandma won't go for that. I said, well, you'd have to go ask your grandma because I don't know. She's Osage, so. But
I noticed when he brought his girls in, though, they had the plain,
yeah,
I mean, they were Wichita dresses and stuff, the plain. And,
well, it just couldn't. Uh, Something like Kay makes for her girls.
mm-hmm.
That's all they need.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's how they were dressed. I think Kay actually made their dresses and stuff.
Yeah,
And to me, that's more Wichita than all the flashy
yeah,
stuff. Yeah.
yeah. And those that go down into the ankles and drag the ground when they're dancing. I said, they never did that. They never had that.
Can I ask you something about the visitation? You know, haven't had the visitation in 4 years, and they've lost their tobacco man, and we don't know whether it's going to continue or not. I mean, it had never stopped. Can you kind of tell us about your experience as the tobacco man, and if they were to pick up that visitation again, what you think it would look like? Because I doubt that they can't 10 days after COVID. And
Yeah.
you know, talk a little bit about the visitation
Um,
and how you became tobacco man. I don't know if
hmm,
I've ever heard that story.
for me,
Mm-hmm.
when I got the tobacco,
Mm-hmm.
uh, Grandpa Houston Miller had it, and the Pawnees were down, and after we broke camp, and the Pawnees had left Bill Campbell's place, and we was there, just a few of us, maybe a dozen. We just visited a little bit, and Grandpa, he was there, and he said, "Come here, I want to talk to you." So I went over and sat down by him, and he said, I know, my boys, they want this tobacco." He said, "I don't want to give it to them. I want to give it to you." And he said, "But," I said, "my boys are still begging for it." Like, I said, "Well, they're a lot older than I am." I said, they, they could be all right to give it to them, I guess. And if they're going to, do right and everything. And so I'll have a turn coming uh, someplace. And he said, "All right." So he got him and told him, "I want to give this to grandson," said, "but since you all want it so bad, I'll just turn it over to you all." Yeah, I was all happy to do all. They didn't do that. They didn't know the ways what they're supposed to be doing. What they didn't even watch their dad when he was a leader for 4 years. And they they thought they were going to get a bunch of money and a bunch of stuff, and come to find out it wasn't theirs. The Polynesian was the ones that gives to us when we're up there. They can't blame anybody but yourselves, I guess, when you don't make friends with them, when you don't do things for them and take care of them down here. And so they went up there, and it was especially they say you shouldn't have that tobacco if you don't have a good woman to help you. And that was very true to them. They married Comanches, and that one Comanche wife was hollering at her husband for giving all the money away. Well, he was just giving money to each car. You can sometimes divide it up. It's according to how much they get. You can give individual money, kids on up, or you can give so much. If there's 10 cars that was up there, that all people give each to the 10 cars, and all those that can't too. Whoever had a car up there would get the money. But she was sitting back there, and and he told the Wichita's to get line that he was going to give it individual monies. She was hollering and cussing him and everything else that he was giving all their money away. It wasn't their money. And so,
So with the visitation, I remember the first time I went to the visitation, I was all excited. And somebody asked me to serve, and I got out
Yeah.
in the arena, and I had shorts on, and I didn't know anything about it. I remember you told me, we're not supposed to be out there with shorts. Is there anything, and that that was after I'd already been out there, but no, nobody told me that prior to that. So is there anything like that specifically, like things like that about serving and how we serve? I always have this question about, at the visitation, men go first, and then the women go after,
mhm.
and then we have other things like funerals, and usually the family goes first, and then like if we were doing our education banquet, we would be doing the people that were being honored, that they would go first. Is there any specific way that we should make sure that we preserve? Because I always feel like the men should go first. I mean, I believe as Wichita's that we make sure our men are taken care of, and they should go first. Is that how it's supposed to be? I know other tribes might do the women go first or the kids go first, but I always just feel we should follow that Pawnee, the way we do things with the Pawnees.
Well, they used to, uh, back again when Grandpa was a leader. It made any difference where we were if we went to uh, uh, someone's home for they said for different ones to be invited, or maybe sometimes they had hand games in their home, and they would feed the people that came and whatever, and that's the way they did it like that. My grandpa was first because he was the leader, and he went first, and then the men. They're supposed to be, but can't ever get them to do that. It's supposed to be the first man is the leader. Second man is his first. Third is second helper. Second would have been the first helper, and then it goes on down, and then the kids are last, and then the women get in behind the kids. But that's the way it should be wherever it's at, wherever they're serving a meal. Unless there is special guests that they have, then they'll go first, but they won't be. Uh, uh, they're not supposed to bring all their 15 kids and everything else to get in front of the leaders.
So if we were to have any other meals and stuff, we should always make sure that that is carried on, right? To make sure the men go first, the leader, and
Mm-hmm.
the women behind them. And then at other meals, it's the honoree or the family at a funeral. Is that correct?
Mm-hmm.
That was just always a question I had. And then just anything else about the visitation, if we were to carry that on, what are some things that we need to make sure that we stay to? Because people will change things and stuff like that. But is there specific things that we, even if it's a shorter time period, is there specific things with that we should make sure that we preserve?
Well, they, I think a lot of people that have a lot give bigger things, and that shies some of them away that didn't have very much things to give away, and sometimes they'd ask me, this, I don't have anything. I don't have any blankets. I don't have any shawls or anything like that to give away. What can I do? I said, you got $1 in your pocket? And they said, yeah. Give them $1. You got friends? Give them $1 or 50 cents. It's up to you. I know back in the 50s and 60s, there were very few Wichitas had anything, but they still managed to. Of course, they prepared better than what we probably do now, but they made things to give away potholders and dishcloths and things like that, where they could sew and they could make several items that way, where it didn't cost very much money. But those things could get, or even like groceries or something, commands.
So what's the real purpose of the giveaways? So we eat and we dance and then we give away. But what's the if you were to teach somebody that maybe we use this clip, but what's the whole purpose of the giveaway on that day? What's the purpose? It's not just to just randomly give things away, right?
No, it's uh, basically what they gave away then was when when they had when they at the end of the dance, say like when Wichita's were up there, and everyone would get up and pledge how much money they was going to give to the Pawnees when they came down, and some's up in the $200-300, honoring their kids or grandkids or somebody, and they would put all that together and supposedly keep it. You could get, if had when I was uh, the leader, I would take, if we got, say we had $800 or $900. Well, I'd take about 300 of it out and give it to the campers, because they would have been more in hardship than someone driving up in their new car. So I gave them money just so they could do whatever they wanted. If they had more kids than others might have just been two of them, and somebody might have been there with 4 or 5 kids. Usually gave them more and maybe just depending on how I felt, I guess. I used to give kids $1 a piece for. I think they used to. My uncle and them said they used to get a quarter when they were little. Their kids and whatever. Make them sit on a bench and sit there and wait. Think somebody come along and give them change. Sure enough, change. But uh, it just depends on how you feel about how the people are being treated, or if they're not, if the Pawnees come down here and raise Cain, and you're not doing that right. This is the way we do it, and stuff like that. Well, that's not a good sign. I don't know how to say it. It's like using the golden rule on everybody, whether you like them or not. And then, like when you say we did that for them, don't worry about up there, because they might treat you better or might be worse, but there's nothing you can do about it unless you pick up your stuff and leave.
So the main thing is just to make sure whenever they come, regardless of anything, is that you treat them treat them well.
Yeah.
And then, but the giveaway stuff, is it just given random, or is it like you were talking about? Some people would make stuff, or so are you supposed to have the relationships with those individuals and make it special for them, not just random stuff?
Yeah, they are. There's a lot of them. They used to give Leslie and I, was that one family, God, I can't think of his wife's name. What was Charlie's wife's name? Was it Ethel?
Charlie Longchief,
Yeah.
I can see her face. Can't think of her name.
But those folks are older. They had a big box of groceries. They would give it to us. Leslie and I, when Leslie was a helper.
Leslie who?
McAdams?
McAdams?
Is that who you're talking about? Leslie McAdams?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. He, but they'd always prepare that, and then he went down from there. They gave to different ones that, a lot of times they'll say, they try to give something to someone that gave to me last year. If they gave someone to Wichita's, they expected the Wichita's to come back up there and to give. They don't have to be more or could be less or whatever, just according to how their finances are. That as long as you recognize the ones that gave to you here, that you remember them when you get up there.
What do you miss most about the visitation?
The rain. I always liked the rain when we got all soaking and wet and our clothes got messed up and I had to hang them on the fence to dry them. And this would have been a good rain for up there. Oh, it's just being with people that we grew up with. See, I don't. He's gone now, but William, I've known him for years, and they just Wilson was the same way. Wilson always come to our house to see us. Delbert, Adam Pratt, Nora, they'd always come down. They would come all the way down when we'd be having a veterans dance up at Alabama's. Those 6 people would come from Pawnee and be with us. And even though they were having a veterans dance at big veterans dance at Pawnee, there were just a few of us down here. But they'd always show up.
We tried to start a veterans program this last year, and then, or no, I'm sorry, before the pandemic, and we tried to get somebody to be involved in that, and then that didn't work out. We're gonna try it again in this next year. But what are some of the things that we could do better for our veterans, and in relation to just services or involving them in our dance and stuff like that? What are some things that we don't do right now that we need to get better at?
Well, those that are homebound are hospital bound, they need people to go see them and visit them, just talk to them, and give them encouragement to what if they if they were uh, had lost a limb or something, or however, just expressing the feelings about going all the time. See the head man of the visitation before they go to Pawnee. They're supposed to make the hospitals and rest homes and stuff and see people that are there that would have been going and camping if they were able to, but are either ill or handicapped or whatever, and they have no way of going or getting there. And but they still want to, and you know try to, if they're just handicapped and not in the hospitals or anything, well, they need to be uh, seen and trying to get them a ride or something to where the people that was going. They used to, George Bolson used to see his lease man and get a big truck, and they'd load everybody's stuff in that big truck and haul other people had big sideboards on it and stuff, and he'd drive them to Pawnee, unload them, and when they broke camp, well, they'd haul back and bring them back, even with their gifts.
What branch of service were you in?
Huh?
What branch of service were you in the
Me?
Mhm.
Navy.
Is there anything else you'd like to leave us with? And like I said, the three main things that you would like for us to carry on and make sure we do right. I know you mentioned the dances.
Well, you need the songs to have dances. I guess the songs would be the most important because you're not gonna not gonna have dances without songs. And let's see what else. And we need to again preserve those that do have, and not say, "Well, we'll do it next year," or "We'll do it sometime," and sometimes it's too late. Um, I guess just trying to have more activities for uh, the veterans and whatever by having more dances. See that when we was growing up, first thing we had was dance on New Year's. We would have a dance on New Year's Eve, and then old folks would come back and they'd have things cooked and have a New Year's dance. Eat at noon and dance after. And then they'd have a memorial dance. We haven't had a memorial dance in probably, what, 25 years. They had that. didn't have a 4th of July like the South bunch does. Could have it was always big for birthdays, kids, and have hand game. There's a bunch of them that might play that don't know how to play hand game because we don't play hand game like the other tribes do. Could have dances on all the holidays. Those recognized by the government and others that aren't. But we had probably a dance a month, just about.
It doesn't have to be elaborate either, right? They just, hey, we're gonna have a dance. Make sure you have
That's
your
it.
drum and the poor people, and then to make sure it gets started and stuff, and then
Yeah,
do your potluck and bring
we
the dishes.
we did. That's what I was gonna say. Bring have the potlucks. Haven't had a potluck dinner here in I don't know how long. Might have been, but and another thing is communicating with them. I don't really know what when the dances were. I didn't know when anything was going on here or nothing. Since I've been in nursing home, only one I get news from is Nikki. And I don't know when. I don't even know when somebody passes away. Or
Yeah, I think we've lost a lot of that, especially in the last 4 years. We just haven't had communication, a constant communication person. We're trying to fix that, so I think that would help. Sure.
yeah, but those things that to communicate, let them know what's going on, and get to visit them, whatever. That's all of the.
One last thing, a lot of people ask like how you should introduce yourself, like properly when you go places and stuff. So I have a way that I do mine. But if you were gonna leave that with somebody, like if you were gonna introduce yourself, how would you introduce yourself in Wichita?
In Wichita, I would just introduce. Uh, if it's older ones that don't know, I just like the older ones that's the drum. When I'd go to Pawnee or something, when they'd ask who I was, and then I'd tell them what my name was. Then I'd tell them who my grandpa was. Then I'd tell them who my uncle was, and tell them who my mother was. So then they know what family I come from. But doing that to, I don't know, I had to do that to Franklin Jim for every time I sat down.
So could you do that for me right now? Could you introduce yourself and then tell like you would do it? Like, could you do that right now?
Oh, I can do that in English.
No, that's fine. No, that's fine. Because that's what I always tell kids. I always tell the kids when you introduce yourself, you need to tell
Oh
them
yeah,
who your family is, so they'll know, so they can relate to who
yeah,
they belong to. So
yeah.
can you do that for us right now?
Oh yeah. I would just shake hands. I would just walk up and say, if he said, someone may say, well, who is this? And then I would say, they'd reach out and shake their hands and tell them I come from the Miller clan, that my name is Stuart Owings, and John was my father, and Faye was my mother, and Faye Miller, and And see, my grandma and grandpa were
Who were they?
in
What was their names?
Florence and Hugh Miller. And all the ponies at one time knew, who the old folks were that would go on visitation. But that's how I would do it, so they know who you.
Where you come from? What family?
Yeah.